We have been talking about story formats, and we have talked about Black Snyder beat sheet also. Now, I was talking about opening image. Now, opening image is always very calm, serene, unless you are not starting in a non-linear format, as I gave you an example of James Bond and Three Idiot film also, Three Idiot film. Now, opening image is always, remember this opening image, which is basically, which sets, or which represents the struggle and tone of the story. A snapshot of main character's problem before the adventure begins. Now, suppose if I start a film where there is a town, so I will establish the town, which will be part of the opening image, and then I will, through visuals, that I'll be establishing that every town has got rich people, middle class people, poor people, like any other setup. So I, through my visuals, will establish if it is Kanpur or Dhampur or Rampur. If it is, then from where my character is coming, what family background my character is coming, what sort of a life he has, who are the parents, who are the friends, who are where is his school, or where is, or if he is unemployed, how long has he been struggling. If it is Banaras, like dam laga ke haisha, so what kind of a family in Banaras we are talking about. And setup will also talk about that what sort of a life of this character has been before, and what is the main character's world as it is that we are witnessing, and what is missing in his life. If you remember that I was saying that opening image is on page 1 and theme stated on page 5. So up till page 5 you will be establishing what sort of an environment. Like if you remember, when I was talking about this film Omkara, I said it is exterior day and it is a countryside. The moment I say it is exterior day, countryside, and there is a two characters sitting on small hillock, and one is in in groom's dress, other is other person is having a gun and he has a shawl, tarted jeans and things like that. So and at a distance you see a barat which says Rajju weds Dolly, and you are talking about that the barat is about to reach the destination, but it has been it has been stopped, and the groom has been taken out. So one person is talking to this groom and everything. So this opening scene where you have wind blowing, and there is a dusty road, there is a bus, there is a moped, two people sitting on a small hillock, one has got gun. So immediately this opening image, this setup, uh, tells you what kind of a story or what kind of a world you are going to enter. Now, it prepares you, this opening image and setup, it prepares you psychologically that what kind of a universe you are going to be a part for next 2 hours. Now, the third thing is theme stated. Now, this is what your story is about, the message, the truth. Usually it is spoken to the main character or in their presence or in their absence also, but they do not understand the truth not until they have some personal experience and context to support it. Now, if you remember when I was talking about Bahubali, everything is going fine. Let's take it in a linear fashion. There is a small boy who has been taken by the tribe chief. They raise him together. This boy is like absolutely fine. Everything goes all right. But this boy who has everything in the world which is down somewhere, this boy from down wants to go up. So the theme is like revealing itself, though he doesn't know, he doesn't know the actual purpose, why there is a desire to go up, why he does not know the truth, but there is a desire which is very internal thing. Now, in case if this boy is completely unaware that he has to go up, then as a writer you will give him a message. That message which has been given to Harry Potter through letters, which are carried by owls. He is a small boy who is living. He's a small boy who is living under stairs. His, guardians are very, very strict. They do not support him. They do not take care of him, and he does not know the purpose of his life. But these owls with letters keep on coming, and guardians, keep on shunning also. So the boy doesn't know what is the purpose of his life. He doesn't understand the truth, unless one day, somebody comes, grabs, tells him, and informs him that who you are, what you want to do, what you should do, this is how you should proceed. So technically, Dumbledore becomes a mentor later on, but it is Hogwarts, I think, who is his first mentor, at least in first part. He looks up to him and things like that. So when you know the theme, like Harry Potter again in this linear fashion, otherwise how the film starts. There is a board and the camera pans down. There is a man coming out of darkness who has got a long beard. He goes in a society. It is late night. He takes out his a lighter kind of of instrument. Now, like, I can deviate from what I'm talking about, but this is very important to make you understand. There is something called, there's something called that willing suspension of disbelief. This is what I read in literature. So willing suspension of disbelief. What does it mean? It says that he takes out a lighter sort of an instrument. Now, what is the job of a lighter? Now, the job of a lighter is the moment you click it, it will give you fire. Now, this is what we logically know, what we understand, this is what we use lighter for. Whereas in the film, it says when he opens it, it sucks the light. It is not giving light, it is taking light back from the lamp. Now, this is something, the moment you see it, before that you have seen a cat figure turning into a lady also. So you know that slowly there is an owl in the beginning, Why owl? I can talk about it also. Why only owl? And then there is a cat. Why only cat? Why not some other animal? Now, gradually, you are through opening image, through setup, through theme stated, you know that you are gradually going to gradually going to enter in a world where magic is a normal thing. Now, this is what it happens. Now, let's go to next point. Now, let's talk about catalyst point. Now the moment where life as it is changes. Now, it can be a telegram, it can be, the act of cheating your loved one, the act of catching your loved one cheating, allowing a monster on board the ship like snake in the plane, meeting the true love of your life, etc. But any catalyst, the moment you introduced a catalyst is an incident. Please understand, it's not that you go to a chemistry lab and put two matters together and there is a reaction. Catalyst is a particular incident which will help you as a story writer, as a film director, which will help you take your character, male, female, irrespective, take your character from this ordinary world into the world you want him or her to be. Now, this film, Kangana Ranaut's film, a very interesting film. When she goes on her honeymoon, the catalyst is that the boy has run away. She had a hard-earned money. She wants to go on her honeymoon alone. But this catalyst becomes an opportunity. The situation becomes an opportunity to take your character from an ordinary world to the world where the story will be unfolded, where he or she will be learning uh, great deal where he will conquer the world, where he or she will also be defeated, but that is the world where they are going to rule. You know, that that rule can be physical, that rule can be economical, that ruling that particular space where your character is about to go can be, sociological and things like that. But up till this point, up till character, no, up till catalyst, you are taking your character from the world established, from what you have, shown in opening image, setup, theme stated. Now, from this catalyst point onwards, you are taking your character to actually to Ranabhumi, So he has been, like, suppose if I am in my hometown, everything is fine. The moment I decide to come to Delhi, it becomes my Ranabhumi. So the catalyst can be that I got selected in some, in some course. I applied for it and I got selected. So that selection becomes a catalyst to take me or take you from your setting to Delhi. And Delhi is a place where your story is unfolding, or Bombay is a place, or New York is a place which is unfolding. Like, now you can relate a lot of films when I'm talking about all these things. Now you will say, sir, you know, uh, what was the catalyst for Three Idiots, or what was the catalyst for this Bahubali and things like that. If you remember, when a lot of things are going on, when he lifts the shivling also, but then he establishes the shivling at a different place. One day he goes and he sees a mask. Now he takes mask, he puts it on ground, draws the face, then the song starts, and there is where he's going up. So that mask, which is not from his own world, please understand, this point is really interesting. A catalyst will always be, though you may or you may not have initiated the process, but catalyst is always an external force, or sometime the external situation which has forced you. Suppose catalyst is that I am a bad son for my father, and in the beginning of the story, I show you that I have been careless, I have been not listening, not caring, not doing what is being asked, and because of that I am doing all these things, my family is suffering. One day my father or my mother decides enough is enough, we are not supporting you, or I made a big mistake somewhere, and that mistake is like costing my family reputation, and if I leave, my family reputation can be saved, or if I leave, something like that, or jab Kalia jail jata hai, things like that, something is happening. So this catalyst will take me out from my comfortable settings and put me, in a world where I have to explore everything at my own. The before world is no more. Change is underway. Now, suppose if my family says, okay, Salim, you are not a good son, you are not a good brother, you are not a good husband, you are not a good father, get out from here. Now, it may be like that I say that, okay, fine, I don't care, I am leaving. But the moment I say that I am leaving, there is always a process, there is always a portion of me. How do you show it? Depends on your directorial capabilities. But there is always a debate in me that good or for bad, whatever it is, if I am leaving, I'm scared also, because I have never thought of leaving this comfortable world. Doesn't matter how bad I was in that world, but today I have been given a verdict that this world does not exist for you anymore. You have to leave. I'm just giving an example, this bad character and things like that, but the character will be leaving, debating, when he is going up, बाहुबली is going up, और debate is going on कि आज से 10 साल बाद यहीं पे मिलेंगे, फिर देखेंगे किसके पास कितना है, तो अपनी नॉलेज अपने पास रख, I keep my own style, and we will meet exactly after 10 years, and that is what exactly in non-linear fashion the phone comes के रेंचो मिल गया, so all that, this character who is, because of the catalyst, Bahubali, it was good, he keeps on climbing and he reaches the top, that is good. Bad, the story that I am talking about, that he has never thought of leaving this comfortable space and he's scared. He said, okay, I'm leaving, fine, because Tash mein aap bahut sari cheezein keh jate hain, but when the character comes, his in his or her in his or her senses, that is where they realize, oh God, what have I done? Now, this change is always scary, and for a moment or a brief number of moments, the main character doubts the journey, he or she must take now onwards. He or she thinks that, can I take this challenge? Do I have what it takes to face the world? Should I go at all or not, or should I go back and beg for their mercy, that please take me in this world, I am not ready for world, and things like that. Look, here story can end, but then it will not be the story of a hero, hero, male, female, both, so they will definitely, in Lord of the Rings, he decides to go on voyage. He was comfortable living fantastically in his own life, but he has to leave now. So it is the last chance for the hero to chicken out. Now we have talked about Act 1 so far. In Act 1 we have talked about technically opening image, setup, theme stated, and catalyst, and debate also. Now the story, now the character comes in this new world, so that becomes the middle part. This is how the middle part start. So your character has come to the beginning of the middle part. Now, so the story breaks into two, so this is how the second part starts. The main character makes a choice and the journey begins. So he decides, or she decides, okay, fine, I'm going for my honeymoon alone to this foreign land at my own, so let's begin. Now all the adventure, all the problems, all the excitement, everything will follow this point onwards. Now we leave the thesis world and enter the upside down opposite world of Act 2. Now please understand, if I may phrase it like this, up till now, your character was in the known world. From breaking into 2, your character is entering in unknown world. The good point is that from this unknown world and journey, everything which I'll be talking about, the hero's journey, from this unknown world, he again will be coming to the known world, but more wise, better, as a better human being, who is more evolved, who is more enlightened, and ready to help his fellow human beings. Now, usually this term B story, which is like which somewhere starts at page number 30, technically, this B story is usually, especially in Indian films, and especially, doesn't matter if we are talking about Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Odia, Punjabi, or, Marathi, or something like that. If it is a romantic film, B story means a love story. Okay, this is when there is a discussion about the theme, the nuggets of truth. Usually the discussion is between the main characters and their love interest. So the B story is usually called the love story. Now this is very interesting, the promise of the premise. Now, the moment Bahubali comes up, he meets a girl, who is like, he has been thinking about, all those things. So that is what I'm talking about. There is a song also. So that is a perfect example of B story. Now the promise of the premise. Now this is, when I talk about the promise of the premise, this is when Craig Thompson relationship with Raina Bloom's, when Indiana Jones tries to beat the Nazi to the Lost Ark, when the detective finds the most important clue and dodges most of the bullets. This is when the main character explores the new world and the audience is entertained by the premise they have been promised. Now this is where if your character, like, this is fine. I've given you an example of Craig Thompson. I've given you an example of Indiana Jones. I've given you like um, this BBC character, the detective. What is his name? Sherlock Holmes. All these where they are like you find, okay, this is a very interesting person. He or she can adapt in the new setting. So through writing, you give a trust to your audience that if we as a creator have put a character in a new world, he or she, they will make their mistakes. They will, find their mentors also. They will find their goddesses, gods also. But they have the capability. If it is Sultan, so Sultan will be winning some matches here in new arena, or he or she will be able to impress the love interest and things like that. So here is where you actually technically, in a very, very simple words, you actually create situations where your audience start putting trust in the main character, because so far you have seen him or her in a world where they were safe. Now when you have brought those characters into a known world, now you need to give audience situations where you give belief to your audience that, okay, fine, the character is in new situation, but he has the capacity to learn. And not only he or she is learning, but they are thriving also. And there are areas where they may not excel, or they are not able to beat their masters, or they are not able to beat their mentors, but he or she has the capacity, he or she has the potential. So, and you, through incidents, through different situations, you inculcate trust in your audience that this character is going to survive. At least he or she has started surviving. So the promise of premise, though you write as a writer, you will be writing, but it is technically for the audience to put his or her trust in the character by some examples. Then by the time you read, like suppose if I talk about this promise of the premise, when a lot of soldiers come and Bahubali start fighting with everyone, he is not only able to show the audience what brilliant warrior he is, but at the same time he is able to impress his would-be love interest that he is not a weak character. Let there be situation, whatever it may be, he will succeed. So for the first time, like till now you have been knowing Bahubali as a soft-hearted, who is very caring for mother, who has got guts, who has the courage to climb up till hill, mountain, and he's passionate, he can follow, he is very romantic also. But the moment these soldiers come and there is a grand fight scenes set up, it basically makes audience ready that he can do anything. Now the same thing, if his courage is established, his valor is established, his stature is established, now comes the midpoint. Now think of all the films. If your story was going somewhere here, the midpoint has to be somewhere here, so that when you take a break, when there is an interval, now by this time, as it says midpoint has that you have covered 1 hour and everything goes all right. Now think of Midpoint, that whatever it has been going, that fine, he comes up, he establishes his romantic side, then he establishes his might also, fighting with a lot of soldiers. Now think Midpoint in this. It says that depending upon the story, this moment is when everything is great or everything is awful. So I'll give you one example of how everything is great, and I'll give you one example how everything is awful. The main character either gets everything they think they want or doesn't get anything they think they want. So when they think what they want, they get it. It is great situation or great interval. Or when they think this is what they want but they don't get, that is an awful interval. Both devices, great, breaking at the great point or breaking at the awful point, is acceptable. Now I give you the example of Bahubali. Now when this midpoint happens, the statue is being established, of Bhallal Dev. Everything is like fine, calm, there are drummers, there are, dancers, there are troops, there are groups who have been performing, and Elephant is also like very casual about it. But when the name of Bahubali keeps roaring, and tempo starts building, and when you see the statue of Bahubali established, and of Bhallal Dev established, but superimposed by Bahubali's imaginary statue. Look at the pace of the music, the way music is being played. Suddenly when everybody hears the name of Bahubali, the entire crowd burst into energy, and that energy is being translated. Though the statue of Bhallal is established, but actually it is Bahubali who is being established. That is an example of great interval. That you are like super excited. Music is the track is like at its height. There is a crescendo which is building, and going up, and you, when your seats are like, what is going to happen, and suddenly this statue comes and establishes. So this is one great example of Midpoint. One awful example is when throughout the film they are finding where is Rancho. What they see as Rancho is not Rancho. Thank you very much.